to welcome you to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavian Cupid, and indeed it is always a pleasure to be seated here before you. Today is Thursday, the 29th of January 2026. Yes, we're almost to the end of those 189 days, but I know from the time persons get salary, it feels as though the month is finishing off nicely. Pre-salary, it's 189 days. Post-salary, we're almost there. I want to thank you so much for joining us, whether you're viewing us on either of our social media handles, Flow, Digicel, or AMPLIA. Thank you so much for choosing us and making us your number one choice, waking you up on the mornings. As per usual, I start you off really strongly with the morning brief, where we keep you updated with all things current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity, regionally and internationally. And of course, there's so much happening in and around us. Starting off with the Tobago division of the TTPS held an ACP Senior Superintendent Conference aimed at strengthening unity, professionalism, and shared responsibility among officers. ACP Pierre urged officers to work together in harmony, take pride in their uniforms, and uphold values of integrity, respect, and excellence while serving and protecting Tobago. He highlighted the unique nature of the island and encouraged officers to commit fully to preserving its beauty through dedicated and disciplined policing. Senior Superintendent Kirk emphasized the importance of legitimate policing, strong supervision, and proper training, especially for probationary officers, to instill professionalism early. He reminded officers that policing Tobago is a collective effort, I like that, and encouraged them to embrace upcoming challenges, including the carnival season, as opportunities for growth and strengthening the division. All right, so we see the TTPS working on strengthening the division collaboratively. Of course, we know the TTPS is currently in the country's crosshairs following the perceived extrajudicial killing of Mr. Samaru last week. We continue to pay attention to the developments there. Again, the Commissioner of Police, Alistair Guevara, said his officers will not be suspended at this time, but rather they would be sent for counseling until the investigation comes to an end. Moving on, the MV Renaissance glided into Tobago's waters for the very first time yesterday as the vessel made its maiden call to the island. On board, a plaque exchange ceremony set a warm and celebratory tone, led by Secretary of Tourism, Antiquities and Creative Industries. Remember that. So it's the Secretary for Tourism, Antiquities and Creative Industries, that's Assembly Member Zorisha Hackett. As a symbol of Tobago's rich heritage, she presented an original artwork titled Tobago Old Time Wedding by local artist Martin Superville of the Art Gallery Tobago, a gesture that reflected the island's history, creativity, and welcoming spirit. The visit continued with a guided tour of the ship, followed by meaningful engagements along the quayside with vendors and taxi drivers who shared their experiences and perspectives with Secretary Hackett. Some good news there. All right, and taking a look nationally, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has accused two independent senators of attempting to trade their support for the Law Reform Zones of Special Operations Bill 2026 for personal favors. She said her government refused to engage in what she called vote buying politics. Following the bill's defeat in the Senate on Tuesday night, the PM said it became clear the legislation would fail after the alleged requests were rejected, and she placed responsibility on those involved while criticizing what she described as a privileged political elite disconnected from public safety concerns. So we're back. The failure of the Zoso bill is going nowhere. The conversation surrounding the Zoso bill is going nowhere. We see that on Tuesday night it failed. It needed 4 votes from the independent senators. All 8 of them voted no with 1 abstention. And the Prime Minister said that 2 independent senators approached a senior member of her government asking for personal favors in exchange for their votes. She said her government declined, and from then she knew that the bill would fail. She did not name the independent senators, the 2 of them that she said approached her government for favors. She only said that they will have to live with the shame. I see persons online saying he who alleges must prove. Call them out, name them and shame them if it is that 2 independent senators did go to her government for favors in exchange for the votes. I also saw the Minister of Homeland Security, that's Roger Alexander. He said he's disappointed that the bill failed, but also that he realized that the citizens didn't quite understand what was trying to be put in place. But there's something very interesting he said. He said that the citizens are also going to miss out on the social aspect, because there's also going to be a social aspect of the bill to help curb crime from the root. My question there is, don't we have a Ministry for Social Development that the government is mandated to implement a social policy that will help eliminate poverty, help eliminate crime? I don't think that assisting citizens is hinged on this bill, but we will pay attention and see how this goes. We'll see how it unfolds. We'll see what the independent senators have to say about this scathing allegation on their integrity that the Prime Minister made. So we'll pay attention to that. Taking a look regionally, Prime Minister Mia Motley has invited election observer missions from CARICOM and the Commonwealth to monitor Barbados' February 11th general election, underscoring her government's commitment to a free and fair process. The move followed concerns raised by opposition leader Ralph Thorne about the readiness of the Electoral and Boundaries Commission and the integrity of the voters list. Nomination day concluded smoothly. That was on the 27th and without incidents, with candidates from 5 political parties and 1 independent nominated. Both the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party will contest all 30 constituencies, while other parties will contest a smaller number of seats. Motley rejected claims of electoral irregularities and assured the public that the election will be conducted lawfully and transparently. All eyes are now on Barbados. I think, was it St. Lucia was the last, and we had before that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago. So all eyes are on Barbados. I know that the Bahamas is also later on this year, and then we also had Jamaica last year as well. And finally, concluding internationally, sure how exactly we're going to take this news, but India has confirmed the 2 cases of the deadly Nipah virus in the eastern state of West Bengal, prompting heightened vigilance across the region, even as authorities say the situation is contained. The infections were detected amongst healthcare workers, and Indian officials report that extensive contact tracing, testing and quarantine measures have so far prevented further spread. Nomination and monitoring systems remain active, with the Health Ministry urging the public to avoid panic and rely on verified information. Sounding a lot like COVID. Nipah is a rare but highly lethal zoonotic virus that can spread from animals, particularly fruit bats and pigs. We're back to the bats again, to humans and through close human-to-human contact. Although no cases have been reported outside of India, several neighboring and regional countries, including Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Nepal, China, and Pakistan, have stepped up airport and border health screenings as a precaution. Nipah virus symptoms often begin 4 to 14 days after exposure and can include high fever, headache, muscle pain, vomiting, sore throat, and fatigue, followed in severe cases by breathing difficulties, encephalitis, which is swelling of the brain, confusion, seizures, coma, and eventual death. With no approved vaccine or specific treatment, health experts stress that early detection, isolation, and surveillance are critical, while noting that the virus does not spread as easily as respiratory pandemics like the COVID-19. So I guess that's the only part. That's some good news there, that it doesn't spread as easily. It's not as easily transmissible as the COVID-19, but it does take you back. I would never forget in early 2020, my aunt returned from the US with news of COVID being spread in Asia. And I remember distinctly saying to her, "Oh, those things never reach here." And that would have been because of prior experience with swine flu and bird flu and all those others that never reached our region until COVID-19 reached our region. So, of course, we want to pay attention to this new strain. Well, it's not new, but newly transmitted to humans, the Nipah virus. Be listening. I know Australia as well is on high alert. As soon as it crosses a border, that's it. All right, so that's it for the morning brief here on Sunrise, where we keep you updated with all things current affairs in Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is a wider entity, regionally and internationally. I want to thank you again so much for waking up early and joining us here on Sunrise as we continue to give you all the information that you need, and we continue to discuss current affairs matters that may affect your lives, and that does affect your lives. In the meantime, we're going to go for a quick break. I want you to do me a favor, share the live and enjoy the beautiful aerial view that I know the technical crew is working on for you. All right, so I'll see you back in a bit. Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrell Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrell Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Come in. Long time I see you. This station complete. Ready for children party. Mommy! Jay, you can't go nowhere with these children. And you know you can't depend on Kevin neither Steven to see about them. Yeah, total waste. So I supposed to stay home whole time? Jada is 12. She could see about that. You just leave Jada to see about Kia and Kayla? I thought it's your mother or your sister. Who? Them always busy. Jada could handle that. She cooking and cleaning a long time. And the next two better know what time it is. It's only me, you know. I will talk to my mother. She just home these days. She will make sure the children okay. Alright. Let me see the moves for later.
Before your Ramage, make sure the children okay. Call 996 to report all child abuse now. A message from the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services, and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered. Viewers, welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. Thank you so much for staying with us as we head on into the conversation. As promised from yesterday, we were speaking to the Interim Secretary of the General Contractors Association of Tobago, GCAT, and that is Mrs. Gemlin Tobias Frank. Mrs. Frank, good morning and thank you so much for joining us. Mrs. Frank? All right, so we are going to work. So technical is going to work on that for us. Just iron out those little technical difficulties that we're having this morning. But of course, we're excited to have this conversation with Mrs. Frank this morning as we speak on the General Contractors Association, newly formed, and their mission, their way forward, how the organization, the newly formed organization, has been received, and what are their plans in going forward, and even just the benefit for not just for contractors here, but also the employees that fall under their remit moving forward. Of course, we know that over the past 4 years, we would have seen a decline in the construction industry in Tobago, and looking forward into the future, into the next 4 years, as the administration moves forward, we want to see more development and, of course, more moving parts, more action within the industry. So we want to speak to this newly formed organization and find out, what are their plans even to collaborate with the Tobago House of Assembly. Of course, it is always for the greater good of Tobago. So we're going to take a really short break. We're going to work on that with technical, and we'll be right back with this conversation.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television, and as promised, we do have Mrs. Gemelin Tobias Frank from GCAT, that's the General Contractors Association of Tobago, on the phone with us to join us in this conversation. Mrs. Frank, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise.
Good morning, Lavian, and thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. So the General Contractors Association of Tobago, could you give me a genesis of the organization? When did it start, and also what would have influenced the start of the organization?
Okay, Lavian. The contractors on the island were crying out, right? They were crying out due to lack of work, being unable to pay bills, to maintain equipment, just to be able to provide a reasonable standard of living for our families. In recent years, everywhere you turned, and I'm sure you would have heard it over the Christmas season just gone, things hard, the place slow, right? The cry inevitably became a demand for us to come together, to organize, to represent the interests of our Tobago contractors. The conversation built momentum, conversations regarding what we would like to see happening in the construction sector in Tobago. Conversations on the part we were capable of playing in our development. And these conversations were not even just formal. These are conversations you sitting at the bank, waiting to talk to your loans officer about the state of your loan. You're at the grocery store, you're meeting persons there who come to pick up a few things just to get by until, right? So all of this and us wanting to contribute to Tobago is not just altruistic. It's not just selfless, to be honest. Because while we do develop Tobago projects, and we want to play a part in the development, we expect that our businesses will benefit financially, our families will benefit, that the Tobago population will benefit. What we saw was that, yes, development projects were happening, but the payments and the profits were not staying in Tobago for the most part. So when things reached a crisis stage, because that's where we are now, for many persons, people were having equipment repossessed. Businesses were sending home staff, cutting hours, cutting days, and all the issues that would obviously spin off from that. So basically, these are some of the issues that led to the creation of the General Contractors Association of Tobago, better known as GCAT. We would have started the process last year, but these documents and these statutory requirements take time. We are an NGO and a non-governmental organization, non-profit. So we would have received our formal documents early this year, which is why we have started to move forward and starting to take steps to take us forward in our journey.
So as you mentioned, some of the plight that the local contractors are faced with, I have to ask you, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, I think it was 2 Mondays ago, would have mentioned the procurement process being implemented under his administration for contracts, $1 million and under, to keep a degree of locality right here in Tobago. But my question is, well, one, what's your remarks on that and thoughts on that? Or probably not just yours, but as a whole, the body as a whole. But then also contracts under $1 million and under, it doesn't really fall under what companies your size and the contractors under the organization might look to actually keep business afloat.
Okay, well, within the organization, we have several categories of contractors, from micro, small, medium, large, mega. We also have a category for allied professionals, so our surveyors, our architects, our engineers, hardware stores, the finger mason, plumber. So this is very inclusive, and it is just to reinforce that money has a trickle-down effect. So when the contractor gets a contract, whether it's micro, whether it's mega, it does not remain with that company. They hire persons, they shop at the hardware store, they have to hire professionals. So we really need it to be understood that it is a trickle-down effect, and it does not just affect the contractor. Now, as to the $1 million and under, that is only one category, and obviously one small category. So there are those of our persons our members, who will fall into that category and will benefit from jobs of that size. But what we want to see is really the THA structuring its contracts, its jobs that would include everybody, right? We don't intend, or we don't think that anybody should be left behind. Because while, yes, $1 million, what happens to the larger contracts? Is it that it is still not going to be made available, and we are not going to have a fair chance to tender for these larger projects and be successful, right? We have mega contracts up to 30 million contractors who are capable of doing with 30 million and over. So $1 million would really only address a small cadre. It is useful, we welcome it, but we are saying we are capable and desirous of doing more.
And does GCAT have any intentions of meeting with the newly elected Tobago House of Assembly, or having any sort of collaborative meetings or so, looking forward? Are you all open to that, or has even the Tobago House of Assembly reached out, seeing that you are a newly formed organization? Contracts and procurement was a big issue over the last 4 years. So did they reach out? Did the THA reach out to GCAT?
No, we have not been reached out to by the THA. Yes, we intend, and we are very desirous of meeting with the THA. It is necessary. You know, as the largest, we know the construction sector is one of the largest on the island, and the THA is the largest employer in the construction sector. Right? We have the recurring program, we have the development program, you know, that usually or is supposed to put a couple $100 million into the system annually. So yes, we want to meet with them. We are really looking forward to collaboration, to a civil and a cordial relationship, because I believe at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, which is the development of Tobago, because we all have to live here. The contractors, our families, the secretaries. So when you have these pressures, and not everybody is going to stand up to the pressure and try, we have to be honest, we have to be open. These things are also a driver of crime, and we don't want that for this island. I would have recently seen a news report about breaking at Castara Retreat, and you know, it spoke to the lack of safety and comfortableness and freedoms that we would have enjoyed here. And we really do not want to have our atmosphere, our climate changing into that. So we really hope that in the short term, possibly next week, we are going to be reaching out to the THA to try to initiate this meeting and try to find a way to collaborate and to move forward for the benefit of Tobago.
And also, Ms. Jemlin, even as we speak to the issuance of contracts, and I think sometimes the general public not knowing exactly how contracts are not only just awarded, but even, sometimes you hear a very big figure, you might hear $100 million, and you're thinking, oh, so there's one contractor gets all that. But even as you would have mentioned before, it trickles down. It trickles down from you have to subcontract, you have to get the various professionals to get the job done under the contract, and then it goes all the way down to the very small man, like the mason and the carpenter, etc. My question to you here is, does GCAD have any stats on how much persons would have been laid off over the past 4 years, and what exactly is the construction industry looking like for the small man right now? Like what does the fallout look like? How bad the fallout is right now for the small man in the construction industry in Tobago?
Okay, we do not have as yet the statistics of unemployment. These are all big. It is a big challenge, and we are working on it. We are working assiduously. We are trying to prioritize what we do. We do have a research, education, and training officer who is going to be addressing all those things, because we want to do our things scientifically and in an order. So when we present a position that is backed by facts and backed by data. Now, the effect right now, it is heartrending to me personally as a Tobagonian. Almost on a daily basis, even up to yesterday, I had a client calling to ask if I have any availability for a driver, a heavy driver, a young guy in his 20s. And that is the situation. Persons meet you, they call you. Some persons come to my home. I operate from a home office. Some people come to my home. And Lavian, people are crying out for work. It's for simple things. Because remember, when you are unemployed, so we look at the big contractor. And you hear 100 million, the example you gave. The contractor does not get $100 million. Right? If you get 2 out of that to clear your overhead, because remember, you have to buy materials, you have to pay professionals, and in the interest of doing things professionally and improving our standards. So we have two persons coming on, like project managers, engineers, health and safety officers. So it really benefits everybody, but it also makes it clear that all this money does not stay with the contractor. Right. So, we want to have things like person's being employed means that you can go to the grocery and support the grocery. You can support the small parlor in your village. You could rent a car and take your family for an outing. You can have dinner out. So it really, it's not just limited to the construction sector, but basically that we have a standard of living that supports the whole of Tobago. We already have a small population, so that is itself is a challenge for any business, right? We have seen it over and over. Business opens, and then within a few months, maybe a year or two, they close, So there is really need. It is real. The concerns are real, the challenges are real, the struggles of persons are real, and I would really like us to make the effort and the move to having whatever resources comes here, right? We already have a challenge with the allocation. Yes, we would have gotten the highest allocation ever for this fiscal year. But we want to see, and GCAT is saying, that what comes here, we have to set ways and means. We're not trying to break any laws, but even the OPR speaks to local content and domestic content and so on. So we are just saying that things can be structured in a way that Tobago benefits, that Tobago rises.
Right, and we continue on the even as we end there, we continue on the slogan of the Tobago People's Party, which said the Tobago is we. But finally, I want to just ask you, what has the reception been from local contractors to join the association, and also does the association have anything outside of, well, of course, assistance with acquiring contracts, but like OPR registration, assistance with that, and so on for newer upstart contractors and so on. So what could you tell me a bit of what the reception has been like and the assistance that the GCAT is offering to contractors?
The reception has been overwhelming, Vivian. We had our first general meeting for general membership last Thursday, and there were over 80 persons present. And for a first meeting, that to me was very heartening, because we only expect to grow from strength to strength, and as persons become aware that GCAT is here and what we are about, that we will have persons, even more persons coming in. There will always be the persons who are looking on to see how it goes before they come in, whether we're serious, whether, it's just another organization that pops up and then disappears. That is not why we are here. That is not what GCAT is about, guaranteed. And again, we would have had quite an overwhelming support. Yes, we have initiatives and plans within GCAT to assist contractors. So all those things, OPR registration, compliance with the statutory authorities, because that was one of the other things that I didn't mention when I spoke about the trickle down from the contract. To get these government contracts, you have to pay income tax, you have to pay NIS, so all of these things that are things that would take away from your bottom line and what the contractor ultimately takes home.
Right.
So we have within GCAT 3 subcommittees that we are fleshing out. One of them is membership development. Right, so that would oversee. So we really plan to at least quarterly have some training programs. Some will be initiated by GCAT, some will be at the request of the membership. Some will be, we hope, at the request of the THA as a client to say, well, listen, we want to see you come up in this. We want to see certification, because we want to move towards certification for our backhoe operators, our truck drivers, our excavator operators. So the development of our membership is really key to our functions and core to what we intend to do here, right? So we have the Advocacy and Business Development Committee, which, aside from representing the interests of the association and its members to stakeholders, we want to identify areas for improvement and develop strategies to allow our businesses to make upgrades, necessary upgrades. We will be assisting in upgrading the standards of proposals and other administrative output, because trust me, we have the capacity here. The persons who can put together a tender, the quantity surveyors who can give you good qualities and whatever. So what we want to do is really come together, bring everybody together, and at the end of the day, what we put out there will be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with any entity in Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jemelyn Frank, for having that, Tobias Frank, for having that conversation with us this morning. She's the interim secretary of GCAT, that's the General Contractors Association of Tobago, giving some insight there on their way forward, and looking forward, as she said, in collaborating with the Tobago House of Assembly to have funds trickle down to the very small man here on the island within the construction industry. All of us know a mason, a carpenter, a plumber, and of course we want to make sure that we see them prosper. All right, so that's it for Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. But when the programming here is done with me, we're not done for the day. No way. We head on over to the morning show with, of course, my very handsome friend Akinlabi and the very beautiful and gorgeous Renessa, smiling so brightly.
That's right, Lavia, and the very handsome Akinlabi.
Good morning, Lavia. Good morning. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. How are you today? I'm
doing
great.
Quite fine. Doing quite fine.
All right, good. Well, I know you have a packed show for them. And of course, tomorrow is a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. 189 days of January is finally done. And we head on over to February where we have a little bit of partying for the carnival. Guys, I want to wish you a wonderful day and a great show, all right?
Thank you.
All right, viewers, so that's it for Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. We head on over to the morning show with, as I said before, the very handsome Akinlabi and beautiful Vanessa. And then we have none other than my girl Chanel Felix with Good Morning Tobago, that's GMT. I can't wait to see you tomorrow because, of course, you know I have some sort of interesting conversation where I keep you updated with all things current affairs. The morning show is going to give you that nice, smooth rollover. I want to wish you a wonderful day, and guess what? I'll see you tomorrow.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Today is Thursday, the 29th of January 2026. I'm your host, Akinlabi Holder, and it's good to be here, good to be in the land of the living. Some very interesting times in the history of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm joined in studio by the lovely, one more time, lovely Vanessa Ortiz. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning, Akinlabi. Good morning to our viewers here on Tobago Updates Morning Show. It's always a pleasure to be here on your screens, bringing to you the conversations. And we have quite interesting conversations this morning, as well as a little bit of banter.
Yes, we saw the Zoso bill failing in Parliament and the subsequent lashing out by the Prime Minister against the independent senators, and some of the independent senators lashing back and saying, well, if you have evidence that persons have tried to extort the government for money in favor of votes, then bring the evidence to the public. And I think a lot of the government's critics are also saying, well, bring the evidence. And I think that's a fair request of the government, because you are talking about the highest level, the highest seat of legislature in the country, talking about independent senators, persons in the highest seat of legislature in the country, committing a crime, basically, asking for a bribe. That's a crime. And if you have the evidence, let the public know.
And not only that, if this was the issue in terms of them receiving bribes, why not bring this before the Zoso bill? Why bring this upon the edging of the bill not being passed because independent senators refused to go with the bill?
Yes, you see that also you see a direction in which they're accusing the independent senators of being actually undercover PNM senators, but it doesn't match because the vast majority of bills the government has brought to the public, they've supported. That they've brought to the parliament, sorry, they've supported. So the one time that they did not support the government, it's
that
suddenly
sends a signal. Is it that you're only in favor or dealing with the independent senators and being fair with them as long as they cooperate? I think also a part of being within the parliament space, if bills are brought to be passed and there are issues based on how it would roll over in the public and for the citizens, I think it's important that people state their objections, and that is why we have a democracy.
Another angle we need to consider is that the independent senators were also willing to support the bill as long as they made
there were some
particular amendments.
Yeah.
Now, the amendments that they're suggesting is not very widely available in the public space, but we could do some research and find out what those amendments were. And if those amendments were very reasonable, then the question lies, why did the government not input the amendments into the bill? What was so egregious about the amendments that the government decided not to put them into the bill? And a simple amendments would have passed the bill, and would have been able to go on with the zones of special operations and would have been able to fight the crime in the way that the government wants to fight the crime. But you know, politics has a morality of its own, as the late Basil Pandey once said.
Because I know we were speaking about the breach of the curfew provisions, where we saw the $50,000 fine and 1 year imprisonment. And if we are saying that the zones of special operations is going to be put in place for those areas deemed criminally rampant, and we tend to broadcast the criminals as persons who don't have a means for income, and then you impose this fine, then there is imprisonment on top of that, which means for 1 year you can't work to pay off that fine. When you come out, what do you think are some of the repercussions of that?
Well, further in debt, further in poverty, it's harder for them to make ends meet, and they might in turn
the loop would
go
continue.
Back, the loop would continue to go right back to the crime that you're trying to get rid of. One last consideration we need to take, I want to discuss with this zone of special operations, is the issue of the government. I think that the government and the TTPS are a bit tone deaf concerning the bill in the heels of the recent police shooting in St. Augustine. The society, the country is very wary of the TTPS. I think we are all aware that the TTPS has a serious corruption problem, and therefore when incidents like these happen, it piques our ears up, it piques our attention to the fact that this may be another act of corruption that some members of the TTPS are committing with impunity, and as such, persons are very hesitant to give the police more power. And in that context, the amendments, making that concession and having some of the amendments placed into the bill would have signaled to the country that the government is serious about the TTPS fighting crime, but fighting crime in the right way. And I think the government missed that opportunity to capitalize on that.
And as you're talking about the TTPS, I know we were also speaking off air about the body cameras. I know for quite some time they were speaking about body cameras and the TTPS acquiring these equipment, but I remember here in an article they were talking about they would be required, as far as is possible, having regard to available resources.
Well, I'm not sure what available resources means, because at any point in time you could say the resources are not available. There's no way for us to verify that or anything like that. So we'll see how things pan out. But viewers, before we get into any conversations that we have planned for today, not this banter, but any conversations that we have planned for today, we head on over to our news in 90 seconds.
And here's what's making news in 90 seconds for January 29th, 2026. The Tobago division of the TTPS held an ACP and Senior Superintendent conference aimed at strengthening unity, professionalism, and shared responsibility among officers. ACP Peer urged officers to work together in harmony, take pride in their uniforms, and uphold values of integrity, respect, and excellence while serving and protecting Tobago. He highlighted the unique nature of the island and encouraged officers to commit fully to preserving its beauty through dedicated and disciplined policing. Senior Superintendent Kirk emphasized the importance of legitimate policing, strong supervision, and proper training, especially for probationary officers, to instill professionalism early. He reminded officers that policing Tobago is a collective effort and encouraged them to embrace upcoming challenges, including the carnival season, as opportunities for growth and strengthening the division. The MV Renaissance glided into Tobago's waters for the very first time yesterday as the vessel made its maiden call to the island. On board, a plaque exchange ceremony set a warm and celebratory tone, led by Secretary of Tourism, Antiquities and Creative Industries, Sir Isha Hackett, as a symbol of Tobago's rich heritage. She presented an original artwork titled Tobago Old Time Wedding by local artist Martin Superville of the Art Gallery of Tobago, a gesture that reflected the island's history, creativity, and welcoming spirit. The visit continued with a guided tour of the ship, followed by meaningful engagements along the quayside with vendors and taxi drivers who shared their experiences and perspectives with Secretary Hackett. And finally, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has accused two independent senators of attempting to trade their support for the Law Reform Zones of Special Operations Bill 2026 for personal favors, saying her government refused to engage in what she called vote-buying politics. Following the bill's defeat in the Senate on Tuesday night, the PM said it became clear the legislation would fail after the alleged requests were rejected, and she placed responsibility on those involved while criticizing what she described as a privileged political elite disconnected from public safety concerns. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television, and that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, for that news in 90 seconds. And viewers, we head on over to that moment where we celebrate with those who are celebrating with us. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. Yes, Tobago Updates, we'd like to celebrate with you. Whatever you're celebrating, we, Tobago, Trinidad, and everyone else want to celebrate with you. And we start things off by saying happy birthday to Miss Janelle Forbes. Happy belated birthday, that is, to Miss Janelle Forbes. We know you would have celebrated it well, and we thank God for your life. And we pray that moving forward, everything that you put your hands to will be a great success.
Up next, we have Jackie Ann Trim. Happy birthday from the Tobago Updates family, wishing you a bright and prosperous year ahead. We hope that today is filled with lots of joy and laughter and spent with those who love and appreciate you.
We also say happy birthday to Miss Carrion Job. Happy birthday to you, Miss Job. God's richest blessings. Today is a special day. Go out and have some fun, shake a leg, dance a little bit, but be safe. And we pray in this upcoming year you put God first in everything that you do.
Next up, we have Astra Webster. Happy birthday to you. You look very vibrant and radiant in your picture here on screen this morning. We hope today reflects the same, and that this year is filled with reflection, prosperity, joy, and that all God's richest blessings come to you.
And finally, we say happy birthday to Mr. Oriel Grant. Happy birthday to you, sir, Mr. Grant. Yes, today is the day that you entered the earth and you are a blessing to so many people. We pray that you continue to be a blessing and that you keep God in everything that they do. Yes, viewers, we are here at Tobago Updates, and whatever you're celebrating, we want to celebrate with you, a birthday, anniversary, whatever it is, we want to celebrate with you. So Vanessa, who do we have on the show this morning?
This morning we have Lawrence Hyslop. He's a former PNM senator, and we're talking about the new look, the THA division's roles and responsibilities, and a bit of what's next for the PNM. And after that we have Miss Abigail Caesar, massage therapist. It's Self-Love by the Sea of Valentine's Day Massage Special.
All right. So we have a very interesting lineup for you all this morning on the show. And we want to thank you for viewing with us, whether it's on our Facebook Live or YouTube channel, 102 on AMPLIA, 121 or 130 on Flow, 133 on Digital. We want to thank you whether you're in Tobago, Trinidad, the Caribbean, or the wider world. Thank you for making Tobago Updates your #1 television station in Tobago. We ask you to do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services, and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions. All powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Yes, viewers, we have here a traffic report for you this morning, and we are at the Wilson Road traffic lights. Yes, traffic is light. It's light right now, but it's building up as we get closer to that 8 o'clock hour. Make your ways out onto the road right now if you want to beat that traffic. You can see there's traffic moving from Plymouth Road onto Wilson Road into Scarborough, and also west along the Claude Noel Highway. So make your way out. It's still light right now, but as I said before, as it gets closer to that 8 o'clock hour, 8:30 hour, things start to pile up. So Tobago looking pretty green and nice. Okay, viewers, we have in studio with us Mr. Lawrence Hislop, who is a former senator of the People's National Movement. I believe that he is the PRO of the Tobago Council of the PNM, and he's here to talk to us about the new look of the THA, the duties and responsibilities that has been highlighted by the Honorable Chief Secretary earlier this week. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Morning,
Doing pretty
Tobago.
well.
Good to be here.
All right, so tell us your initial reaction to the establishment of these new divisions and the new look of the THA.
Well, the reality is that the politics, the elections are over. So it's now time for governance. I believe the Chief Secretary made a request of the government to make the necessary amendments to the THA Act to create additional secretarial portfolios, which in his view, I guess he sees the need for it. A split, if you want to put it that way. You created smaller divisions. You broke up the bigger divisions and created smaller divisions. What that means is that you'll have a larger recurrent expenditure every month now, because you now are gonna have to hire. Well, I guess we're waiting to see what are some of what the structure would look like in each division, because now you'll have to obviously hire the necessary personnel within the structure, the senior positions, administrators, and so on. And so we just wait. In my estimation, we just wait to see what's going to transpire, how that is going to help with governance. And we're hoping for Tobago that it makes it easier for governance. Governance is better. Services can be delivered in a more timely manner to the benefit of the average citizen in Tobago.
Now, what would you consider a good first 100 days in terms of outcomes you expect to be delivered within that time frame realistically for the Tobagoan people, and especially by the THA administration?
Well, the truth is each political entity usually operates in the context of a manifesto. The TPP called theirs a blueprint, which by and large is supposed to be the roadmap by which you govern. And so I have not heard any clear guidelines in terms of a 100-day policy. I could have missed it, but I didn't hear the Chief Secretary saying that they have certain deliverables within 100 days. So there's nothing necessarily to judge them by in the first 100 days. Usually governments will say, well, in our first 100 days, this is what we intend to accomplish. We haven't heard that. I haven't heard it. And I would not even necessarily call it the first 100 days. This is a continuation of an administration that was in office for 4 years. And so the excuses or the rationale that they would have had in the last term, that they knew and they're now finding their feet, what you have is experience quote unquote experienced or should be experienced secretaries, experienced chief secretary in this regard now leading a team. And so we expect that what we should have is proper service delivery, proper governance, to the benefit of every Tobagonian and Trinidad and Tobago by extension.
Now, they may not have mentioned 100 days,
yeah,
but the chief secretary said he was giving his secretaries 9 months. And if in the 9 months he's not satisfied with the performance, he suggesting that he may make some changes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is reshuffling or whatever. It might be. What do you think of the pronouncement of the chief secretary in that regard?
But then how do you judge? Okay, so he's managing the secretaries. So in my estimation, I guess he would have given them timelines and deliverables. But you are hired by the population, and so if you have timelines and deliverables for your secretaries, I would think that you'd share those with the population. I would not want to speak to what the chief secretary would do after 9 months. It's an interesting timeline, but let's allow him. Let's see if there's changes from the last term to this term in terms of how the administration governs the island. As I said, the elections are over. We, as a party, the PNM on the platform, highlighted all the challenges that we saw the island faced under that administration. The population saw otherwise and gave them an overwhelming mandate in terms of seats. And so I sit at this place now where I say, listen, the population spoke in that regard. Let's see. And then maybe the PNM will say in 9 months, we'll start to say, listen, you're not doing what you said you'll do. But the interesting thing is we have not been given any sort of measurables to work with within that 9 months period. The chief secretary has those measurables. He says he's given his secretaries 9 months. I have to ask the question, if what we saw over the last 4 years continues into 9 months, whether the Tobagonian will be able to function within that kind of space within the 9 months. But I'm saying again that the population gave the administration a mandate, 15-seat mandate, and so the elections are over, so it's time for them to govern, so we allow them to do so.
Now, we spoke earlier about the expansion of the divisions, and in your view, it's greater recurrent expenditure happening because of this split. Now, looking at the teams selected, do you have any concern in terms of capacity and readiness based on the portfolios that were given based on the team selected?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't speak to that. As I said, we allow persons to function in the positions they've been selected for, and we'll take it from there. So the proof is really in the eating. So it would be disingenuous of me to highlight 1 or 2 persons I say can do the job when they have not begun to work yet. If I'm to judge it by the last 4 years, then we have our concerns. Those concerns were shared on the platform. The population thought otherwise, and so the TPP currently has a fresh mandate, and so we allow them to function within the fresh mandate. And if and when issues arise, that's why it's a democracy. So if and when issues arise, you highlight those issues, you bring them to the fore, you share an alternative, and you leave it up to the people.
So we're looking at, as I said before, the divisions and some of the partitions. We saw some new not political parties, but some new divisions come to the forefront. What are your thoughts on some of these new divisions?
Well, the thing of, as I said, in some regard, and if you could, I don't know if you want to highlight which of the ones you speak into, but in a lot of regards, what the chief secretary did was to break up divisions that were there before. It is still the within the remit of the Chief Secretary to choose secretaries, and not only to choose secretaries, but to decide on the governance structure of the Tobago House of Assembly in terms of divisions' names and their responsibilities. And so he chose to go the route of some of the divisions in terms of what he puts where. What I find interesting, if I'm not mistaken, is that there's some entities that have been moved from within divisions that have been there historically. And if I could remember off the top of my head, I think the quarry is now under the office of the Chief Secretary. And I find that very interesting. And so we wait to see what is the synergistic relationship between what used to be the division of infrastructure and quarries and urban development and so on, and in the past the division of works. We look to see what is going to be that relationship between the office of the Chief Secretary, where it is now, as relates to a division of infrastructure.
For me, one of the most interesting divisions that were newly created was the Division of Legal Affairs, and some of the responsibilities listed here: civil litigation, conveyancing, government contract, legal advice to the government, provisional liquidator, provisional receiver, public trustee and official receiver, legislative agenda, legislative drafting, immigration concurrence. So it seems as though all the legal bugbearing issues that the teacher experienced, they created a division to sort of iron those out. How do you think that will impact the efficiency in which the teacher will operate?
No, one of the things that I find interesting is what we are currently getting as it relates to this ideology or this idea of greater autonomy for Tobago, is that this specific division was already part of the Tobago Island government bills. And so what we are now getting within the last few months with from the general elections to now is a piecemeal approach to additional autonomy for the island. And so this division of legal affairs was already there in the Tobago Island government bill, which would have given Tobago that additional autonomy. And so one of the things I find interesting about creating a division of legal affairs now is that outside of, or if I should make the comparison, in the island government setup, you had lawmaking powers. You would have been given lawmaking powers. So one of the significant rules for the division of legal affairs would have been your creation of laws and drafting of laws and so on to take to the Assembly legislature for passage. So what we're getting now is what you may consider a piecemeal approach to the autonomy conversation. And so I don't see an issue with the division of legal affairs. I think it would have been even a greater thing for Tobago if that division would have come in when Tobago had the ability to make laws. And so yes, you've now created a division where in some instances some of the work was already being done out of other departments. And as I said, the Chief Secretary has the right to do that. That's his responsibility. And so I have absolutely no problem with the division of legal affairs, because it was also part of a wider view as it relates to Tobago's autonomy.
Now, there's also a division of environment, climate resilience, and energy. Now, given Tobago's vulnerability in terms of small island developing states, what are some of the top 2 priorities you hope to see coming out of this division?
No, well, I think the coastal protection is key for Tobago. And so I'm hoping that falls, if it may not fall in line with the division, that the division and maybe the division of works would have that relationship that will speed up our coastal protection projects and so on. So you look at Grange, and a lot of persons may not recognize that there is an extremely large crack if you head in towards Mount Irving Beach. There's a huge crack by one of the Tiantet pools there, where the land has dropped off, and so we may run the risk of, if we don't treat those things in quick time, we run the risk of maybe losing that entire area or a significant portion of that area. And so coastal protection is key. I think one of the areas also is the constant inundation every year of sargassum seaweed. I saw that the equipment that was donated, I think from either from the Japanese or from UNDP, was handed over to the ministry in Trinidad, I think mid last year. And so I'm hoping that because I remember sitting on a JSC and trying to remember his name, but we had one of the departments in for questioning, and they gave us the commitment that this equipment was coming, right? And so now the equipment is here. We're hoping that some of that equipment could be handed over to the Tobago House of Assembly, and it could be put into use quickly when we have the issue with sargassum. And yeah, the environment is always key. I heard the Chief Secretary speak to greening our buildings in terms of the usage of power and so on. He zeroed in on the cultural complex in terms of the electricity bill. And so yeah, those things, I have absolutely no problem with those things. Again, that is a division that was created out of a larger division. And so we're hoping that now you've created a smaller space or a smaller entity that we will get better service delivery from the divisions. Yeah.
Okay, viewers, we have to go for a short break, and when we return, we talk about the next steps for the People's National Movement in Tobago. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Do more, live more.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Yes, viewers, we have another traffic report for you. This time it's at the Lambo traffic lights at that junction, that four-way junction between Lambo and Signal Hill. And we can see traffic is flowing out from Signal Hill onto the highway. And well, the lights have changed now, and we see traffic turning into Lambo as well as turning into Signal Hill, up into that hill, going up to the Signal Hill Secondary School. As we make our way down towards the lowlands area, we can see the traffic starting to pile up there. The light has turned green to head in an easterly direction, but the traffic is piling up. Make your way out to work if you don't want to get caught in that traffic. As we make it our way closer down to lowlands area, that Orkinsky Junction, you can see that the traffic is a bit lighter, but still make your way out. The roads are getting busier. That's your traffic report for now. Okay, viewers, we continue our conversation with Mr. Lawrence Hislop, and we're going to talk about the next step for the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement in the wake of the THA elections 2026. So, Mr. Hislop, we know the results, we know everything. It's been a few weeks now, a couple of weeks now. What does the PNM do from here?
Well, before we even get to that, I want to take this opportunity to thank all the citizens, residents of Tobago who chose to vote for the People's National Movement. The PNM received over 10,000 votes during the last THA election. And so we want to thank all our supporters, whether you are a party member or you are in favor or you were in favor of the PNM's policies. That's 10,000 people. And so we want to thank them for that support. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the 15 standard bearers for the PNM. It is not an easy feat by any means to put yourself out for public service. It is to be seen as that service to your fellow men, service to your country and to your island. And so we want to thank them and all those involved in the election campaign. And where does the PNM go from here? The PNM continues to be a party that has been here. We celebrated 70 years on Monday with a celebration in Trinidad, in Queen's Hall. And so the party we're not going anywhere. We've been in positions where we've lost 33-3 in Trinidad, and return to office at the next election. It's the first time in the history of the modern Tobago House of Assembly that we are without a representative in the House. But that doesn't say that the PNM doesn't have a voice. As I said, 10,000 people voted for the PNM. And so there are persons out there looking forward to the PNM having a position on issues. We are currently in what we are calling a transition. And so in April, it is expected that we are going to have our internal elections for all our executive positions of the Tobago Council. And so the changes take place. The party continues to grow from strength to strength. That's why it's called a movement. That's why it is not just a party in the narrow sense of the word. As Dr. Williams said, it's a call, it's a rally, it's for every single citizen who is like-minded. And so, whilst there are those who may say, well, PNM dead. That's your right to say that, but the PNM has proven time and time again that because of the structures that are in place, because of the systems that the party operates under, the party is never dead. We may have what a friend told me recently, a steep learning curve, and so it is up to us to learn the lessons as a party, to make the necessary changes that are required, and to then push forward. And so the party continues. We had several meetings since the election, and currently the party will be in preparation very soon for internal elections in April.
Now, in light of the 15-0 sweep, we saw that there's no opposition. It's just the newly sworn-in THA administration. And we have seen over the past few weeks the Chief Secretary putting forward safeguards in place to showcase accountability to the public. In your view and that of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, how are you going to hold them accountable, given that you are not in the assembly with them when they are going to propose bills? Hold them accountable without it looking as though you're just rooting against the TPP, because there's also that concern, my people, because we aren't in power, it means that we're going to oppose against every single thing. How is it that is going to reflect that it's not just us being upset about the loss, but rather pushing for Tobago's betterment and pushing for the people of Tobago?
Well, I think we laid that groundwork in how we operate as a minority. When Mr. Morris was there as minority leader, we were 14-1, but that didn't say that we were silent. We were able to file the questions, to ask the questions. Interestingly, even up to the election, a number of questions were left unanswered by secretaries. And so even though the Chief Secretary has proposed mechanisms for members of the public to ask questions, I am really hoping that when members of the public ask the questions, that the questions are answered. Because even when you are an elected representative in the House as minority, when the questions were asked, there were a number of questions that were unanswered. Even freedom of information requests were either denied or you took very long to get a response. And so we hoping, and even outside of hoping, I'm expecting that even after the internal elections, when you have a new executive of the PNM in place, that the PNM will do its job in terms of asking the questions. You have avenues for that. You have avenues via the media. You have avenues via press conferences that you can ask the questions and put pressure on them. Remember, the House sits once a month, and the Chief Secretary has indicated that they may sit more frequently now. But far from that, or outside of that, you are going to have opportunities for any political entity or any citizen and resident of Tobago to be able to question. I don't think governance now in this modern era is as removed and as silent as it used to be in the past, because social media now, like social media has its own opposition party. So you have avenues for questions to be asked. We are hoping that when the questions are asked, that the questions are answered, because the previous term, it was not for a lack of asking questions, but what you got was a lack of transparency, and what you got in some regard was some arrogance as well, in terms of how whether secretaries respond, if they should respond, or how they respond. And so now you find yourself in a situation where you're 15-0 in the House, and so you may run the risk of feeling you don't need to report. And so even though you've put mechanisms in place, how do we know that the questions that are most potent are the questions you are going to answer? How do we know that? How would we know that you wouldn't pick and choose the questions that you want to answer based on the level of potency of the question? And so And so outside of that mechanism that the Chief Secretary is proposing for the Tobago House of Assembly, I could tell you that the People's National Movement will not be silent. We are going to allow you to govern, but we cannot be silent. We will not be silent because as I indicated, 10,000 plus people voted for the PNM. And we have to remind this administration that more people or less people voted for you than against you or didn't vote. Because if you compile the 10,000 plus persons that voted for the PNM and those who did not vote, out of the 50 plus thousand that they say is the electorate, the reality is that you, and I'm being very mischievous with this statement, but you're a minority government. Mm-hmm. Because whilst you may have 15 seats in the House and you're 15-0 in the House, if you are to poll every citizen, you may end up being a minority government. Because you may because what you saw is that maybe the population said, well, I'm not supporting either.
Well, Mr. you're right to say that you're being mischievous.
I've been very mischievous.
I mean, that could be said of any administration.
Correct. Yeah, been very mischievous.
But I want to go on to you said the new executive.
Yeah.
There are some whispers on the ground, some people, looking for a new political leader for the party. And some persons are whispering Lawrence Hislop's name. And I want to know if that is something that you've been thinking about or something that you're interested in.
I never saw you like that kind of person.
Going up for political leader.
I never saw you like that kind of person. Listening to whispers, I never saw you.
I don't know.
I never saw you like that kind of person.
It depends on the quarters it's coming from. So I want you to tell.
Yeah, but you see,
you might be interested in it.
You see, the Prime Minister made accusations of independent senators without evidence, without putting evidence on the table. You are saying to me that you're hearing whispers, and it depends on the quarters that they're coming from.
I'm asking for verification.
Be careful of the quarters that you listen.
I'm not making definite statements.
So
I'm asking for
you're looking for verification?
Yeah.
There is no vacancy for political leader for the Tobago Council.
But there will be in April, not so?
Well, when the time comes, we will see who, every single member of the PNM, can put themselves forward for leadership, Every single member.
You're not sure if you're interested as yet?
I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that every single member, you are seeking for me to give you a definite answer. Long TV hosts have been asking me for that answer since I became a senator. Since I was a senator. Brother B tried the question. I've sat here and I've had people ask me the same question, and I'm giving you the same answer. When that time comes, if I do choose, then we will know. But I'm saying to you that every single person has, and I know if other people sit here, you'll ask them the same question.
Of course.
I'm sure if Kelvin sits here, you'll ask him the question. I'm sure if Mr. Dennis sits here, you may ask him that question again.
Of course.
Yeah.
I have to.
Right. I'm saying we have a process that will take place in April. And so at that time, don't worry. The People's National Movement Tobago Council will have a leader, and we'll have the leader at the right time.
Okay.
Now, former Senator of the People's National Movement, Lawrence Hislop, we want to thank you so much for coming on this morning.
My pleasure.
To the viewers, we want you to stay tuned. We'll be right back with one more segment, but remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Tobago. It's Carnival. The vibe. The event space, formerly known as Shade, Fordham Court, Tobago, says, let's celebrate Carnival. Bring your coolers every Friday and Saturday, starting from Friday the 30th of January till Carnival week, and pay $50 at the door with your cooler all night. No ice, no chaser allowed. Top DJ and artists passing through every Friday and Saturday. To pre-book your cabanas, call 369-6414 and 394-3612 or email iwamg@gmail.com. And this promotion is going on until Easter. Gates open at 9 p.m. It's rum, it's bacchanal. Bring your coolers and come.
Been down this road before. All that left is rum and bacchanal. This is Carnival.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Updates morning show. And for this segment, love is in the air. Yes, love is in the air. And we have in studio with us Miss Abigail Caesar, who's a massage therapist and the founder of Celestial Remedy. And she's talking about Self-Love by the Sea, a Valentine's Day massage special. Good morning and welcome.
Good
Ms.
morning.
Caesar. So tell us, Miss Caesar, how did Celestial by the Sea start?
This package started because I wanted to offer something for individuals who do not have a significant other. So you want to appreciate yourself and you make yourself feel loved. So you get a massage by the sea, and if you're a female, you get a 7-count Eternal Rose bouquet, and if you're a male, you get a fashionable pouch. And that special is for $300, and it's a back massage for 30 minutes. Then the pink package is for $420. It's for 45 minutes, and that is a full body Swedish massage. And the female gets the same 7-count Eternal Rose bouquet, and the male gets the fashionable pouch. So you want to feel appreciated by getting your massage, and you also get a gift. And I wanted to make it affordable for individuals.
because sometimes you want to feel loved, but you don't always have the amount to make yourself feel loved. So I wanted to provide that avenue for individuals.
So where would this event be hosted? I know you said it's by the sea. So which beach in Tobago are clients or potential individuals who want to get in contact with this package and experience this? Which beach in Tobago are they going to, and what are the options, whether it's in the night, whether it's in the day, what are the options available to them?
Okay, so the primary beach is Buku Beach. If you want it in the night, it could be closer to the seashore, and if it's during the day where there are more persons there, we can do it further in to Buku Beach, where there's a clearing and it's surrounded by trees, so it's not an open area. There's also an option if you do not want it by the beach, we could go to like Argyle Waterfall. That's the other option.
So for persons who may be wondering, why get a massage? Why is massage therapy important? What would you say to them?
Okay. So the name of my business is Celestial Remedy Massage Therapy, the heavenly touch that removes earthly pains. My massages are different to other people because it removes, I'm an emotive person. I feel emotions and I feel pain. So when I touch your body, I could feel what you feel. And when you get a massage, it releases that stress. It calms the nervous system. It also reduces hostility levels. And that is why you should get a massage.
Now, what made you choose to go into massage therapy? I know you spoke about being an emotive person, but must be something that sparked that interest.
Okay, so since I was around the age of 9 years old, my mommy would have aches in her body, and she would ask me, Abigail, massage my body for me now. And I would say, okay, mom. And she was like, you know, you're really good at this. So she encouraged me to do that. And when I was 17 years old, my dad paid for me to do a course with the University of the West Indies, and he paid for me to do a course with the University of the West Indies, and I became certified. Then after that, I would have bought a massage bed in 2024, and I would have done a next course with someone named Julian White, who I actually found out was my family, and that would have increased my my knowledge on massage therapy.
Now, you said that you have a couple persons or somebody that you're partnering with for persons who may be interested in couples massage therapy. Tell us about that.
Okay, so we have two couple massage options. We have the silver package and we have the gold package. So the silver package is a 30 minutes back massage. The female gets the 7-count eternal roses and the male gets the fashionable pouch. That's the silver package. I am partnering with Curtis from Progressive Fitness. Curtis is a member of the Massage and Bodywork Practitioners. He is a very skilled massage therapist. I'm not a person that likes to be touched, and I feel safe around him, and so that is why I chose Curtis to partner with. So the silver package is $600 for 30 minutes, a back massage, the pouch, and the eternal roses. The gold package is $1,000, 45 minutes, a full body Swedish massage. For the woman, you get a choice of glitter roses, glitter eternal roses, and the man is getting the pouch. And I've also decided to add a love letter because I'm a person that is into spoken word. So you can personalize your love letter. If you like something about the person and you want it to be a little bit descriptive, I could personalize that love letter for the gold package.
Now tell us how many slots are available, if there are any spaces that are limited, and you can also share with the viewers your Instagram handle or the ways that they can contact you to get in touch for this experience.
Okay, so my page is celestialremedy.tt. My contact number is 267-3062.
All right, well, just repeat the phone number for us one last time.
267-3062.
All right, so they will be able to contact you on 267-3062?
Yes.
All right, we want to thank you very much, Miss Abigail Caesar, for coming in and speaking to us about Self-Love by the Sea of Valentine's Massage Special. I know you have something else that you want to show us, another initiative that you want to show us. Just speak to us about what it is.
Okay, so as you can see, I'm wearing a bow. This is how I like to express myself. I like to accessorize myself. I have a small business named Melanin Magic, and I sell bows and scrunchies. This one actually goes very well with with her outfit.
Very much.
It goes very well with her outfit, and you guys can check that out. Right now, I only have things for females, but soon I will have things for males.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Miss Abigail Caesar, for coming in and speaking to us. And I know that Vanessa will enjoy that scrunchie very much. And she probably is going to wear it. You might wear it today. You might want to wear it today. Okay, viewers. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our programming for the Tobago Updates morning show. But our Tobago Updates, the programming continues. We have GMT up next. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Good Morning Tobago is up next.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
My brother Rollins Christopher Alexander Boy's birthday, his 60th birthday is significant to us because one, he was not supposed to be alive at this time. When he was 10 years, he was knocked down by a car. He was diagnosed with functional Down syndrome, and the doctor said he would live till about 30. But he thank God, he gave him 30 extra years. Rollins' life's journey has not been an easy one. He endured misunderstanding, exclusion, and hardship in a very time where special needs children were not recognized. Yet, through it all, Rollins persevered. Despite these challenges, he grew into a gentle, joyful, music-loving, community-embraced soul. From playing the scratcher with the Mellow Harp Steel Orchestra, to faithfully attending church, to dancing freely at every celebration, Rollins has taught us the true meaning of resilience, joy, and unconditional love.
The first day that I came, I was searching actually, am I in the right place? And I wondered, whether Boy heard my plea. He came to me. It was the first time that I was meeting him. And he said, "You all right?" In truth and in fact, I was a bit shaky. I said, "Yes." But that question, I think, it placed me in a zone of comfort. When he hugged me and he said again, "You're sure?" And this, they have a way they would put their hands here to see if you have a temperature. Sorry. He did that. And I think that confirmed my comfort. I said, "Yes, here is my place."
This is a big milestone for him because, as you know, as
he is here, and today this is a big experience because usually they don't live this long. As we've heard, it takes a lot of hard work, and for him to be able to still be alive and still, this is a lot of work, a lot of love from the school. We've been around him, rallying around him and teaching him, and we want him to live for as long as he can.
We want to create an environment where persons with disabilities can live independently, participate fully in society, and access high quality inclusive care in Tobago. Mr. Rollins is a clear example of what long-term care, love and support from family, community and state look like. Alright, Mr. Alexander King Boy, happy 60th birthday. Wishing you the very best. God bless and cheers.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
This year's summit, it takes a slight different approach compared to last year. Based on the persons who had came, the students who had came, we felt that we should have a section focused for the students because that is where the agri-technology would start from, where the innovators are. So this year we take our focus on the students as well as we incorporated different persons within the country of Trinidad and Tobago, and we got exhibitors from right here on this island who are invested in innovation and agriculture.
Produce Tobago is an online multi-vendor marketplace website which facilitates buying and selling along the agricultural value chain. So if you are selling agricultural inputs like fertilizer or seedlings, you can sell on the website. If you're an agro-processor, you could also sell your pepper sauces, your nuts, that sort of stuff on the website. Even if you provide agricultural services, as it says, it's agricultural technology, and I think that this is innovative in and of itself to bridge gaps in the agricultural landscape. So I felt like it was important to bring it to the people of Tobago.
I help companies, farmers, food processors, anywhere along the value chain, build and implement their food safety and quality management. So that's where it starts. I think that it is important because it helps you not only be current and up, but with so many changes happening in the climate, it's important to so that you don't be at a loss. Why not use the technology that we have available to us? Don't be afraid of it, to empower your operations so that you can be more efficient, effective and profitable in the long run.
Well, I'm here at the summit today to learn more about agriculture and to know how far agriculture can get. So normally I might think, well, agriculture is hard work, you had to labor, but coming to the summit teach me that how, well, agriculture is getting easier.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here today at the summit. On one hand, we're here to learn and grow as well because, you know, with education, it's a thing that you keep learning as you go on. At the same time, we're also here to provide information on the impacts of forestry and the relevant information to stakeholders who will be here today.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and you know whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. The Tobago division of the TTPS has held an ACP Senior Superintendent Conference aimed at strengthening unity, professionalism, and shared responsibility among officers. ACP Peer urged officers to work together in harmony, take pride in their uniforms, and uphold values of integrity, respect, and excellence while serving and protecting Tobago. He highlighted the unique nature of the island and encouraged officers to commit fully to preserving its beauty through dedicated and disciplined policing. Senior Superintendent Cook emphasized the importance of legitimate policing, strong supervision, and proper training, especially for probationary officers, to instill professionalism early. He reminded officers that policing Tobago is a collective effort and encouraged them to embrace upcoming challenges, including the carnival season, as an opportunity for growth and strengthening the division. Additionally, the MV Renaissance glided into Tobago's waters for the very first time yesterday, as the vessel made its maiden call to the island. On board, a plaque exchange ceremony set a warm and celebratory tone, led by Secretary of Tourism, Antiquities and Creative Industries, Assembly Member Zorisha Hackett, as a symbol of Tobago's rich heritage. She presented an original artwork titled Tobago's Old-Time Wedding by local artist Martin Superville of the Art Gallery of Tobago, a gesture that reflected the island's history, creativity, and welcoming spirit. The visit continued with a guided tour of the ship, followed by a meaningful engagement along the quayside with vendors and taxi drivers who shared their experiences and perspectives with Secretary Hackett. And finally, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has accused two independent senators of attempting to trade their support for the Law Reform Zone of Special Operations Bill 2026 for personal favors, saying her government refused to engage in what she called vote-buying politics, following the bill's defeat in the Senate on Tuesday night. The Prime Minister stated that it became clear that the legislation would fail after the alleged requests were rejected, and she placed responsibility on those involved while criticizing what she described as a privileged political elite disconnected from public safety concerns. And that was our news in 90 seconds. This morning we are jumping straight ahead into our conversation, and we start off with conversations surrounding education and technology. This morning I have the privilege of chatting right here in studio with Mrs. Kamari Richardson Thomas, who is also an educator and a teacher. This morning we're talking all about the Academy of Creative English and its Digital English Lab. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about the Academy of Creative English.
Sure. So, as you indicated, I am Kimmery Richardson Thomas. I've been an educator for upward of 30 years, and that involves in the public education system and privately. I taught publicly for 25 years at one of our secondary schools, one of our esteemed secondary schools on the island. And behind the scenes on evenings, I had been doing private tuition for primary and secondary schools for 30 plus years. One of the things that I'd always been interested in is finding strategies to help students maneuver what I see as the complex and compulsory English exams at all levels, primary and secondary. So that I taught publicly in the area of English language and literature, as well as communication studies for many years. And then I started doing private tuition for primary students, especially because I saw, at least in my school and some of the other schools or students that I taught, students had been struggling in secondary school. So I made a decision to offer tuition services for primary students. Coming out of that, for the last 15 years or so, I also became involved with marking for some of these exams at the Caribbean Examination Council level. And I say that, putting that caveat, I'm not an official of CXC. But again, because of that experience and seeing where some of the struggles were evident, I felt that, there's something else that I could do. During the COVID period, I had the privilege, and I call it a privilege, to work with the Division of Education. It was Education, Research and Technology at the time. And we did some work during the COVID period, and I had the privilege of being able to record work for English language and communication studies that ended up going throughout the region. And teachers, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but across the wider Caribbean region, had been able to access some of those resources for their students. So a lot of what the Academy of Creative English is involved in, first and foremost, how can we get our students in Tobago to strengthen their literacy skills, particularly for those major exams, as well as how we can assist in the wider Caribbean region.
Understood. And let's talk a bit about the digital component, because you spoke a bit about the fact that, some of the more impactful work that was done during the COVID-19 period, where you were able to have that regional reach. And now that the government of Trinidad and Tobago has decided to re-implement the Laptop in Schools initiative, how does that integrate into the curriculum to help students to better prepare themselves for education in terms of the exams using the technology?
Well, I cannot speak directly to what the government's intentions would be in terms of the use of the laptops and technology as it relates to artificial intelligence. What I have observed with students that I interact with is that students currently feel ashamed to indicate that they're using AI. There's a fear because artificial intelligence, when it was first launched, there was a demonization of AI because there was a fear that, or a concern, a legitimate concern, that students were using the technology to cheat. They were using the technology to write entire essays, and not just students. We have evidence of many people who are using the technology to create, well, I can't say create, but have the technology do the work, and then they pass it off as their own. So we have now many organizations, artificial intelligence, ethically, but that they can go beyond just the use of it, and not just students. Many of us, especially in this region, we know how to use the technology, but we should be using the technology now to create technologies, because that is the direction that we need to go. And the children that we have, our Generation Alpha and Generation Betas who are coming up, because it's not just about the Gen Zs anymore. We have a generation that they're in school right now. What is the climate? What is the technological environment they are going to face? And how are we preparing them for that in the education space? I am aware that there are things that the government have put in place, even with their own ministry, where technology and digital transformation would be concerned. But I also know that we have to make sure that all of our educators are also on board with directing students to prepare for a digital age, because right now, many of the subjects that they're studying would be for careers that are already obsolete or will be obsolete by the time they graduate.
Understood. And so tell us a bit about some of the work that you are doing now individually with different groups, and how can parents reach out to you to benefit from some of the services of the Academy of Creative English?
Sure. So one of the things that the Academy of Creative English recently launched is the ACE Digital English Labs. These are AI tools that are powered by ChatGPT for English language and English literature at the secondary level, the CSEC level. What it will not do is write whole essays for students. The algorithm is set to ensure that it will not write an essay for students. What it will do is, based on the existing CSEC syllabus for both English A and English B, it acts as a tutor to guide students, along with the instruction that the word from your teacher is the final word, because it's not meant to replace the teacher. It is not meant to write the essay, but to help students use the existing technology ethically to guide their learning. One of the things that we are doing, and this has been launched, it's on our Facebook page, the Academy of Creative English, the Facebook page. It's available there because it's a free tool that students can use as they prepare, particularly for their May-June examinations. And even as I say, it's a free tool, it remains a free tool right now.
Right.
And we want students to be able to use it and access it. It was also launched in a regional WhatsApp group of 400 plus English teachers from across the Caribbean region. And teachers have been using it with their classes. I've gotten the feedback students are enjoying how they can use the tool to assist and guide learning without feeling as if they're cheating or using it unethically. This weekend on Saturday, we are having a workshop for parents, and this is for the SEA students. There is a workshop that I'm having for parents and students Saturday, the 31st of January at 6 p.m. And it is to share with parents and students what are some of the tools and strategies available that they can use with their children, especially as we're at the 2-month mark in preparation for the SEA exams. There are strategies and tools that are available, and I believe I've recognized that sometimes students are only doing homework, but they're not studying. They may have a lot of homework, but doing the homework alone, not just SCA, but across the board, homework alone is not the marker for success. They have to do independent study. But right now, more than any other time in our education history, there are so many tools that are available, and sometimes parents are not aware of where to go to find them.
Right.
And what I've also observed, the children know how to use it, but the parents will have a better understanding of how to find it. So I want this workshop, registration has already been open and people have begun registering. It is for parents and students to sit. We're going to look at strategies for mathematics. I do not teach mathematics, but I've been an academic dean for 15 years and study tools, study strategies. What can we do to get students to improve their learning? So I'm looking at strategies that they can also apply for a struggling math student. I hated math as a student, but I found tools that helped me. And there are things that parents can do and things that students can do to help them improve math literacy, because the mathematics, for the most part, 70% of the mathematical exercises or questions, they're literacy-based. They're comprehension-based. So I want to share with parents and students some of these tools that they can use to improve the literacy for the mathematics, the language arts, and creative writing as they help their children prepare for their SCA exams.
Right, and even as the Tobago House of Assembly and the Division of Education moves towards a place of increasing student literacy, do you have any connections or relationships with the division as it stands to assist or utilizing the academy to integrate with some of the initiatives that they are trying to do?
Well, over the last few years, the division, they have contracted me to do workshops, especially when they have their vacation training program. And I've done workshops for them in the area of report writing and public speaking. So I recognize that if there is a need for the services, the division, they will reach out. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that the division also has a wide pool of personnel that they can use to advance the education agenda for the island. And I have seen that they've been doing that. They reach out to the persons and organizations and institutions that can move education for Tobago. I omitted just now that if persons are interested in the workshop or reaching out to the Academy of Creative English, that they can call at 723-5239. It's 723-5239 or 723-LADY. 723-LADY. And they can also visit the Academy of Creative English Facebook page.
Right. Excellent. And so that's also for the courses that you have, which are independent courses for SCA students. Tell us a bit about that for the parents who have those students that are, what are you looking at? Is it standard 3 to standard 4, or are you working with those standard 5 students, or do you think it's too close to SCA to still be working with them? Tell us a bit about that.
Sure. So at the Academy of Creative English, we start to work with students from standard 3. So there is a class that comprises of students who are in standard 3 and 4. That's a combined group, because whatever I'm teaching the standard 4s, standard 3s need to learn it as well. So that by the time those standard 3s move to standard 4, it forms the basis of a type of revision. Then the standard 5s have their own class. These students who I have, the majority of them I've had since standard 3 or 4. There are some of them who've been with me for 2 years, and we work right down to the wire. The last class they have with me will be a relaxation type. We'll have a treat and so on, but we work because students also need to understand they're preparing for secondary school. And while people may complain, and parents and a lot of people complain about the rigor of the exam, it is a placement exam. And we need to be able to determine who are the students that can handle the rigor of SCA so that they can move ahead faster at secondary level. So we could really advance our human resource potential as a nation. I also work with secondary students from Forms 1 to 5, and that too is a combined class because there are some Form 1 students who sometimes are stronger than some 5th Form students. And I have parents who at times want their children to do the exams a little earlier.
Right.
And
some,
everybody,
maybe even some standard 4 and Form 4, 3 students who still need those basics.
Yes. So they work together, and we offer classes that are face-to-face, online, and one-on-one.
Right. Okay. And can you give us the number one more time for those persons who are interested in having their students, whether it be those primary school students that are preparing for SCA or those high school students from Forms 1 to 5?
Sure. So for those persons who are interested in contacting the Academy of Creative English, you can reach us at 723-5239, 723-LADY, 723-LADY. I am the lady that you'll be connecting with, Kimmery Richardson Thomas. So feel free to reach out.
Excellent. Now, the Chief Secretary spoke very recently, I believe it was at the inauguration ceremony on Monday, and he indicated that one of his top agenda items for the Division of Education is to help reel in some more of those scholarships for Tobago. How does the role of the ACE Academy, help with that? Have you had any of those high-performing students come out of the academy? And what are you doing to work, to help increase the number of scholarships that come out of the island?
So I'll be very, very honest. Where I've had the greatest success has been at the SCA level. We've had students who've been top-performing SCA students. I had a student last year who was in the top 5. Very often, the students who come to me are not the students who are already excelling.
Okay.
Scholarship winners, by and large, this area, English language, they're already excelling. Where they are pushing and where they may be looking for additional tuition would be in those specialist areas to advance their scholarship goals. The Academy of Creative English has historically been an institution for the weaker performing students. Now, notwithstanding, there are students who are competent and strong in the language, and they come, they get their grade 1s. But one of the things that always concerned me, especially as an educator, and I will add here, I retired from the public education system in 2024 so that I could commit more time to what I'm doing with the Academy of Creative English. What I've observed is because English remains a compulsory subject, we have students who may pass 5 and fail English or fail math and English. They fail the compulsories and are unable to move on. So that I'd always been concerned and always wanted to find a way to ensure that they can pass that area so that they're in a position to move on. If we have students who will get grade 1s, get their, what people refer to as distinctions, though those don't really exist. But they get their grade 1s in all of their subjects and they get the scholarships. But we end up with 50-something% pass rate for English as a nation or across the region. If we can get some of the students who've gotten grade 4s or even grade 5s to up that grade to at least a grade 3, grade 2, we increase the performance rate, the pass rate, even if those students do not get the scholarships. And what it is I want to see more than anything else is an increase in the pass rate. So we have more students who are able to go on to the next level and less students who are floating around our communities wondering what to do next. We have students and yes, the Division of Education and even Community Development, they offer courses. But we have to get to a place, especially in the direction that education has been going in globally, we have to get to a place where we are no longer focusing and concentrating on these programs after students have graduated, but ensuring that they can graduate well after 5 years of secondary school. And the struggle, it's not to say that teachers are working hard.
Right.
Teachers are working extremely hard. But we are seeing some deficits and the connection between the resources that are available to learn and how students are able to access those so that they can improve their academic performance.
Right. And, you know, just sitting and listening to you speak and also having knowledge of the impact program that was supposed to also be integrated throughout the semester term to deal with that numeracy and literacy deficit. I think about a concept where not necessarily the division has to create the program or the project, but possibly even funding or subsidizing those weaker students to be able to participate in programs like ACE and other existing after-school programs that help to really work on the numeracy and literacy. Because it's not always a situation where the division has to do all the heavy lifting, especially if there are stakeholders and organizations that are already doing the work. The partnership becomes integral in being able to, find that connection between what the policy is doing and what the actual ground soldiers like yourself are doing on the ground to allow for greater access for more students. That may mean that ACE may need to build its capacity to hold more students when the division says, okay, we're sending 100 students over to the ACE Academy. But that means that, the system is structured in a way that it doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, but work with what is already effective. Now, I want to thank you so much for being here this morning, and I want to thank you for the work that you are doing with our students here in Tobago. Is there anything that you want to say before we wrap up our discussion this morning?
So what I'd want to say is, and it comes a bit from the last statement that you made, there are persons at the Division of Education, again, and as I said, teachers are working hard, and there are individuals, curriculum officers and so on, who are at the division and they're working tirelessly with the teachers and with students. And I am aware of programs that they have in place. So I don't want to leave thinking that the division has to necessarily reach out to me. There are parents who can afford, because ACE is not free. And I know you said that the partnership and so on. But I do know that there are persons who are working very, very hard in Tobago for our students. What it is I would like to see is that we can create some type of structure, some hub that parents as well as students will know where to go, and not just the library or elsewhere, but how we can use the existing technology to build that capacity, that they know where to go, especially as they get ready for the SEA exams and those who are getting ready for the CSEC and CAPE May-June exams for 2026. So I would want to encourage persons in Tobago, and by extension Trinidad, parents and students, there are resources available. And as you begin to use them, not just to use them, but to also find ways to create and design your own. This is what I'd want persons to begin to do. 2026, how can you use the technology to design and create something innovative, creative, and dynamic? Because I know that we have brilliant people in Trinidad and Tobago, and the technology is ripe for us to become innovators and not just consumers.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversation after this. See you soon.
We special and there is no denying Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger.
Tobago, it's Carnival. The Vibe, the event space formerly known as Shade, for the court Tobago, says, let's celebrate Carnival. Bring your coolers every Friday and Saturday, starting from Friday the 30th of January till Carnival week, and pay $50 at the door with your cooler all night. No ice, no chaser allowed. Top DJ and artists passing through every Friday and Saturday. To pre-book your cabanas, call 369-6414 and 394-3612 or email iwamg@gmail.com. And this promotion is going on until Easter. Gates open at 9 p.m. It's rum, it's bacchanal. Bring your coolers and come. Been down this road before. All that left is rum and bacchanal. This is Carnival.
Long time I see you. This station pumping. Ready for children party. Mommy! Jay, you can't go nowhere with these children. And you know you can't depend on Kevin neither Stephen to see about them. Yeah, total waste. So I supposed to stay home whole time? Jada is 12. She could see about them. You just leave Jada to see about Kia and Kayla. I thought it's your mother or your sister. Who? Them always busy. Jada could handle that. She cooking and cleaning a long time. And the next two, better know what time it is. It's only me, you know. I will talk to my mother. She just home these days. She will make sure the children okay. Alright. Let me see the moves for later.
Before you ramage, make sure the children okay. Call 996 to report all child abuse now. A message from the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we jump straight into all things interdepartment. You know, when it's carnival time here in Tobago, the THA has its own festivities, and this morning we are talking about competition, and I have the privilege of chatting with the ladies of the Tobago TRHA and the Division of Health and Wellness. So they are representing that division this morning, and to have that conversation with me, I am chatting with Mrs. Jody Melville Nimblett, who is the Calypsonian, as well as Patalia Allen, who is the personality for the division. Good morning, ladies, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about interdepartment, that's one of the most competitive season within the THA, along with Tobago Day and some other festivities. But we know that persons get really serious about interdepartment. It's not a joke. It's very serious. You get your t-shirts, get in line, get your crews ready, and we're out for entertainment, enjoyment, and you know, a lot of healthy competition. Tell us a bit about what you ladies will be offering to the competition come February 5th. Jody.
So I wouldn't give you too much because I want it to be a wow, you know, but it would be something meaningful.
Right.
It would be a projection of, you know, forwardness. Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to make you all too wise up on what I would bring to the table, but I want to let you know that it would be something very interesting.
Understood. I'm glad that you talk about, you know, substance and bringing that element of it, because I remember in times past, the conversations surrounding interdepartment began to go left. Yes. Persons started talking about the fact that it was becoming too lewd.
Yes.
And the substantial aspect of it, specifically when it came to the Calypso part of the competition, was lacking. Although that may have been the part that brought the excitement among the crowd, but in retrospect, the impact, the societal impact of what was happening, it was deteriorating the quality of the competition.
Correct.
Tell us a bit about, you know, where you stand as it pertains to utilizing your Calypso to raise the standard and the quality of the overall event.
Well, it stands where, yes, as you said, it would have been deteriorating for the past 3 years, and we would have, you know, magnified certain words used in the Calypso, and as I said, the projection of it, so that now it would be a bit more crowd-catching. It wouldn't be disrespectful, but it would be like, oh yeah, catch what she's saying now, you know? I get where she's coming from now. So that is where we are trying to edge at, not trying to disrespect any assembly person, you know, but more try to bring a more positive but interesting banter in the Calypso, you know, be a bit more respectful and crowd-drawing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a level of creativity in being able to say something without saying it.
Correct.
Right?
A mix of words, yes.
And allow the crowd to have their own interpretation.
Correct. You are
while
correct.
also having that catchy thing that they can catch on to
Yes.
and sing along with. That usually makes for a pretty, impactful performance. And when we talk a bit about the personality aspect of the competition this morning, we're chatting with Natalia Allen, and tell us a bit about what you would be bringing or you would like to see, added to the competition with your involvement.
Well, like Jody, I would not give too much of my piece either.
Right. But I guess you have a little bit of your piece with you this morning.
Oh, yes. This is our character of choice. So it would involve her, the baby doll character. And likewise, I will also not be bringing that element that is disrespectful or, it will also be right. It will also be catchy. Yeah. Sit back, relax, and wait for my offering.
Excellent, excellent. And what do you think that you would be able to bring to the competition that is different from your competitors?
I think for some of the other interdepartment competitors, I am the competitor. I have been in a lot of different competitions, activities. I've been in Heritage for years. I have been to Best Village. So yeah, I think, as I said, for some of the competitors, I think I am their competitor.
Right. So you are the one that they are etching or measuring themselves up to, right? So they know once they beat you that they win, or you are the core challenger.
Yes.
Right. Jody and Natalia, tell us, because I have been asking the parts to participate, and I have literally ran for miles. I'm not going. What is it that causes a person to say, okay, I will present myself to be a part of the interdepartment personality competition?
Interdepartment is a personality competition.
Right.
And if you don't have personality, it would be a challenge for you.
Right.
That's correct.
Because I think interdepartment crowd is a very crucial crowd. It's not a queen show, pretty girl kind of thing.
Right.
If you don't have personality, do not go up for interdepartment. You have to have a cemented personality. You have to bring it. And if you don't bring it, you can't, you just can't.
Right.
You can't be shy, you can't be too nervous. You had to have that personality to say, I am bold, I could do this.
Right.
This is me, And
it can't be too serious either.
Correct.
Because you would take it too far. Like you would run crying.
Right. Actually, we are in it for the fun of it,
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, I think when you take that approach to it, the competition then does not feel like competition. It feels like, hey, we're going to have a good time at this thing. Yeah, everybody then, feels like one. But yet still you're in a competition, but you feel like one, you know?
And tell us a bit about the costume aspect of it. I know that is a huge part of the judging, the actual carnival costume element. What do you think you will be able to bring to the competition as it pertains to that? Are you looking to go big, bold, and so tell us what can we look forward to from you?
I think that's something we have to keep. A little. Actually, we have to keep these things a little away from the society for now.
But she's quite good.
But the projection that we're coming with, it's a rewired, futuristic, element of it. It's no longer going to be that long time kind of portrayal, but it will be more futuristic.
All right. Okay.
With some of the old elements in it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us, if persons are not working at the Division of Health and Wellness or are a part of the Tobago Regional Health Authority, but they want to be a part of the health crew, the health team, are they able to purchase T-shirts and come out and support you guys?
Of course.
And how can they do that?
Oh, we welcome that.
Of course we welcome people. I mean, we
welcome
are all one Tobagonians, just division.
We welcome that.
But we welcome that.
I mean, well, if they want to rep the winning team, I guess they should. They should definitely.
And also, if you want to purchase T-shirts at the division on the 4th floor, communications, the division T-shirts are $160. They can come and purchase all different sizes. We do not have a package though.
Okay.
All right, so they can come.
So you're responsible for your own cooler, your own food.
Correct. Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what color would the division be represented in this year?
Well, we actually are wearing the t-shirts at present.
These are
Yeah,
the
these
t-shirts.
are the t-shirts.
Yeah, light
Okay.
pink.
So the pink crew is the health crew.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you at your best. We will be front and center, and of course, you know, Tobago Updates, we will be bringing you live coverage of the event, and we will be there in the midst of all the excitement, all the fanfare, all the flag waving, looking to see who has the crew with the most vibes. And I'm interested to see the integration of those new division, if they would be present, and how to see some of your colleagues that were previously in the social protection unit now having to wear another color under community development. And if health wins, how they will be like, well, you know, really and truly we are
That's a
health
real
people,
banter there, you know.
you know, and you know how if community development wins, they will now be on the winning team. But anyway, we want to thank you guys so much for being
Thank
here
you for
this
having us.
morning.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
again,
for
we're
having
wishing
us.
you the best, and we look forward to a
Thank you.
spectacular performance.
Oh, yes.
And some insightful calypso with substance from the health team. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. We're gonna take you ahead this morning, but we are wrapping up. We had previously expected to chat with some other divisions, but I'm guessing throughout the week we will be able to hear from them. Again, we want to thank you for your likes, your shares, and comments, and all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I'm Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.